Hello and welcome to Student of the Gun Radio. Thank you for making it a part of your day, whatever time that happens to be. I don't care. You can listen to me at midnight, at 6 a.m. Anytime during the day or night, we're on. We never close. We are 24/7, just like 7-Eleven. And I've never been able to figure that out. Someone explain that to me. I'm sure that there's some mythology in there about 7-Eleven and being open 24 hours. Now, do you know, Jared, when I was a kid, 7-Eleven was unique and famous because they were the only convenience store to be open 24 hours a day.
Really?
Yeah.
No, all of them are.
And,
well,
you know,
not all of them.
They did the Slurpees, and they did the... I remember when I was a kid, when I was a young kid...
Big Gulps?
No, they did this. No, not Big Gulp. Slurpees.
Who's Big Gulp?
They might do Big Gulp, but when I was a kid, they didn't do that. But they did the Slurpee machine. They had the Slurpee machine, and the big thing, the big push every summer was they did Slurpee cups with baseball players' faces and names on them. And wherever you happened to live on planet Earth, if you lived in Michigan or Massachusetts or wherever you lived, that team was represented. So there's little Paul Markle, aged like 9, 10 years old, playing Little League Baseball, walking to the 7-Eleven to buy the Detroit Tigers commemorative Slurpee cup. Oh, yeah. And, of course, you have to collect them all. And what they would do back then, they would put them in a big, giant stack, but they would mix them up. So there you are sitting, going through the cups, trying to find the player that you don't have yet. So, yeah, that was like 1977 time frame, 77, 78. Those days are over. I wish those days were back. And you know what, Jared? We didn't get trophies for just showing up. What about
pizza?
If you lost, you didn't get a trophy. You got to go home. You know when you got to go and get ice cream at the Tasty Freeze or the Dairy Queen or the whatever? We didn't go. The place we went to was like a mom and pop operation. It wasn't. It was like super, Dairy Farm or whatever, or Dairy King, but it wasn't it was like 2-3 blocks from the baseball field. But if you lost, you didn't get ice cream. You don't get ice cream for losing. You get ice cream for winning.
You don't get participation ice cream?
No, we don't get participation ice cream. You want to get ice cream? You freaking win. That's what America's all about. America's not about getting a trophy because you showed up. Anybody can show up. You need to win. We used to be a nation of winners. We used to be a nation that sought to achieve, to break the boundaries.
I was at a...
now, not so much.
I was at a coffee restaurant yesterday.
A coffee restaurant?
Coffee restaurant, yes.
Was that fun for you?
Yes, it was fun.
Okay.
And I was ordering my coffee, and the chick that was behind the counter, there was a chick and a dude back there. The dude was doing the trash, and the chick, she rubbed her eyes and she goes, "Oh, can I just go home?" And he's like, "I don't really care what you do. It's your paycheck." That's pretty much what he said. Mm-hmm. And she's like, "Oh man, I miss the days of the military where even if I didn't go to work, I still got paid." And I was like, I don't ever want to. Just let me leave. Let me get my coffee.
This was
and
a
go.
Female woman type person.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to get too hard and heavy into the fact that the modern military is a little more than a bunch of civil service workers, shall I say.
I was embarrassed when she said that. I was embarrassed for her.
How do you get to the point
where
you think that?
Yeah.
Where you're like, I don't know. But we're not going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. But welcome to Student of the Gun Radio. If you happen to be a brand new listener because you saw the title of this episode and thought, okay, I'll give it a whirl, I am your host, Professor Paul Markle. I'm sitting inside of the Glass Case of Emotion Studios. The Glass Case of Emotion Studios located at Student of the Gun University on the glorious Gulf Coast of Mississippi. And the other voice that you hear, who's on the outside of the glass case, because there's only room in the glass case of emotion for one ego, and this is it. So
the glass is bowing right now, actually.
No, that's super serious glass. That glass is no joke. That other voice that you heard is Jared. He is the studio engineer, the producer of the show, the right-hand man, and pretty much the guy behind the scenes that makes everything work. So welcome to Student of the Gun Radio. Like I said, if you're new, congratulations on your excellent decision-making skills. What your ears are going to have to do, though, listen up. This is not your average gun talk radio show. I'm not going to jump into what's my favorite caliber and what's my favorite 22 rifle and because here at Student of the Gun, a firearm is first and foremost, before it's a toy, before it's a sporting instrument, before it's a collectible, before it's anything else, a firearm, a gun, is an instrument of liberty. And if you're not down with that, if you don't dig that, and if you don't understand what that means,
there's a show about it.
Take a seat, close your mouth, open both of your ears really wide, and listen louder. And it's okay if you don't get it the first time. Most people don't get it the first time. But if you have a little bit of discipline in your body, you come back for the next time, and then the next, and then you get it. There you go. All right, Jared, you want to thank... Well, we've been doing this is the fourth week that we've done the sponsor of the week, or the featured sponsor. We have a lot of excellent sponsors on Student of the Gun Radio. We are a professional radio production. We are not YouTubers or podcasters sitting in our mom's basement. We actually have a studio. We actually have black carbon steel microphones and these cool pop filters so I can say my P's and B's and stuff like that. And we do that. The reason we're able to do the show 5 times a week, 4 times publicly, and Friday's show is the grad program Big Boy, Big Girl Hour. The reason we can do that is because we have partners in the industry, people that get it, like Duracoat, Crossbreed, Velocity Triggers. Those guys all get it. The people who own those businesses understand that firearms are supposed to be instruments of liberty, not toys or collectibles. And another sponsor that really gets that, and I know he gets it, and I know they get it because I've spoken to him personally, is Frog Lube. Frog Lube is owned by a retired U.S. Navy SEAL. Get it? Get the frog part? Frogmen? Yeah, now you get it. That's where the frog and Frog Lube comes from. A retired Navy SEAL owns the company, and it's good stuff. So here's what you hippies are going to do. This week, your mission in life is to pop over to either Frog Lube's Facebook page or to their website at the Contact Us and take all of 30 to 60 seconds and say, thank you for supporting Student of the Gun. It means a lot to them. It means a lot to us. And the reason that we're able to do this 5 times a week is because of that thing, that very thing. So Frog Lube is our featured sponsor of the week. Now, if you're brand new, we're going to hip you to something that is very cool. We have a Warrior of the Week, SWAT Fuel Warrior of the Week. And if you want to be the Warrior of the Week, you call in 682-207-7684, and you leave a very well-rehearsed, clear, and concise message. And then maybe you can be the Warrior of the Week, and you get to hear your voice on Student of the Gun Radio, and you run around the house screaming, and people think you've lost your mind. But that's okay, because you're going to get a free bottle of 9mm plus P, and once you get that, you'll be able to run around the house even more often without getting winded. So Jared's going to go ahead and he's going to cue it up. He's going to let me know who our Warrior of the Week is, and then we're going to see what their question is, and I'll try to answer it.
The Warrior of the Week, if you are the Warrior of the Week, I need you to email Alex, that's ALEX, at studentofthegun.com. I need you to send her your name, your address, your phone number, and include your email typed in the body, please.
Hey guys, this is Phil from Ohio. My question is, how would you handle being brutally attacked or witness someone being brutally attacked by a dog? And if you did have to shoot the dog, what is the best way to do it so you don't accidentally shoot the one who is being attacked? Thanks, and keep up good work. Bye-bye.
All right, that is an excellent question, and congratulations on being the SWAT Fuel Warrior of the Week. And before I answer that question, I'm going to remind you guys that if you go to SWATfuel.com and you order something from their web store, make sure that you use the promo code SOTG2015. You put that in at checkout, and you're going to save 10% off your total order. All right, how do you deal with being with dogs? And the reason I picked this question is because actually the subject has come up about attacks or being the third person or being you're the gun person and someone you care about is being attacked by whether it's a dog or a human or what have you, and it's in extremely close quarters. Now, firearms people, gun people, their first instinct is to get to cover, which is a good thing, use cover, and move away from the threat. But in a situation like you describe here, let's say you have a dog that is latched onto someone's leg, or they knock them down and they're trying to like chew their face off or what have you, you need to do something quick, fast, in a hurry, because it doesn't take very long for a vicious dog to permanently scar someone, a child, an adult. It doesn't matter. It takes a very short time for that dog to permanently scar someone and or maim them. So you need to act. And what you're going to have to do, and whether it's a dog or a human, if the attacker and the attackee are tied up and they're in close proximity to each other, backing up and trying to take really well-aimed shots is not probably going to work out very well. Let's face it. Have you ever seen anyone or witnessed or even watched on YouTube or what have you, someone being attacked by a dog? Does the person being attacked stand still? Very often, no. They're trying to get the dog off them. So what are they doing? They're either trying to jump or run or kick or move, or they're rolling around on the ground. And so the millisecond that you think you've got a good shot, you press the trigger, and the dog and the person have rolled or moved or what have you. Yeah, you don't want to make things worse by shooting the person you're trying to help. Also, you need to consider the fact that a dog is a relatively narrow target. Even a big dog, if you shoot it with a handgun, chances that whether it's 9mm or 45, 40, whatever your favorite flavor is, whatever that is, if you shoot it, the bullet's probably going to pass through. So, what do? You're going to have to become what my friend John Benner once advised me, and this is years and years ago. He said, you need to become part of the equation. You need to get into the problem. You need to dive into it with your handgun, obviously, because that's probably what you're going to have, but you need to become a part of the equation, and you're going to need to make a contact or near contact shot. And the reason I tell you this is because if you try and back off, if you try and angle around, the people that are fighting are going to be moving around. And the chances of you either A, shooting the dog or the person and the bullet passing through and hitting the innocent person are pretty high. But if you become a part of the equation, you grab, and I'm talking, you jump in there and you literally grab a hold of the attacker, whether it's a dog or a person, you place the muzzle on that creature, think about where the muzzle is pointing, and press the trigger, and repeat as necessary. That is what you're going to need to do. Yes, it's nasty, it's dirty, it may require you to roll around the ground, it may require you to get bloody, you're definitely going to get sweaty and anxious, but here's the deal. You've got a 9-year-old daughter, and there's a pit bull chewing your 9-year-old daughter's face off. What are you going to do? How long does it take before a child's face is maimed and scarred for life from a dog? Not very long. A few seconds, 10 seconds. You tell me. It doesn't take very long. The time for hesitation and dancing around is over. Get in there and get it done. The same exact thing goes for a bad person. Let's say there's been several situations where a police officer has been sucker punched, knocked to the ground, and a large attacker, although the attacker doesn't even possess a gun or a knife, is on top of, has mounted the police officer, or any victim, but that happened in Louisiana where the bad person sucker punched a police officer, knocked him to the ground, had him mounted, and was smashing his head into the asphalt. How many times you can allow your head to be smashed into the asphalt parking lot before you say, hey, we should probably stop that?
Exactly 0.
Yeah, exactly 0. How many times having your head smashed into the asphalt does it take to permanently maim you or kill you.
I say that first one might knock you out, and then they can
And then they just,
do
like,
as they please.
Yeah. So in a situation like that, you're like, oh, I'll stand over him and shoot him. Yeah, stand over him, shoot him, and shoot down into the victim. You need to, like, get in it. Get in it. And the good thing about getting in it is if the bad guy moves or what have you, you can feel them moving. You can feel them shifting left, feel them shifting right, what have you. And you can also control the direction of the shot. Because sometimes straight down is no good. Sometimes straight up is no good. You need to think about that. But that is the answer to your question. You're going to have to get involved, become a part of the equation, get dirty, and take care of business. And thank you for being our SWAT Fuel a Warrior of the Week. And don't forget to send in all the information so you can get your SWAT Fuel 9mm plus P. All right, are we ready to move on to the next subject, I think?
I think so, yeah.
This next subject, before I get into it, I'm going to go ahead and warn you or give you a heads up. Once I step off the dock here and dive in, I'm probably not going to stop until the end of the show. So before we do that, let's go ahead and acknowledge our friends at Century Arms, centuryarms.com, Duracoat, Duracoat, makers of Duracoat gun finishing products. And you can get them at lauerweaponry.com, or you can buy Duracoat from Brownells. You can go to Brownells' website and buy it there. You can buy Frog Lube from Brownells. Check out their new product section and all that good stuff.
I need to Duracoat my TP9 SA.
You do actually need to Duracoat your TP9 SA. We can do anything you want to that, but tell you what, we'll just contact them and we'll see what kind of stuff we want to do that. Follow us on social media. You're like, I hate social media. Social media is bad, and it makes me... I know that the Zuckerbergs and all the other scumbag California puke faces, I got it. But we're using their own weapon against them because we're communicating with each other. Dudes and dudettes, follow us on Instagram, Student of the Gun on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook if you want. If you don't, you're like, I hate Facebook, and Zuckerberg's a puke face. I got that. Go to gundistrict.com and follow us there. Gundistrict.com is a 100% gun-friendly, Second Amendment-friendly social media site. So really, your excuses are over. And you say, well, I don't like any of that crap, then download the mobile app. If you have the Student of the Gun mobile app, you can look at pictures there. There's a thing called Gallery. There is, yeah. You can call into the show and leave a question. You can listen to the radio. You can read articles. You can do all that stuff from the Student of the Gun mobile app. And you said, wow.
Now you can access the grad program.
And you can access the grad program from it. So
go ahead.
Tell them how they can do it.
Yeah, well, go to the Student of the Gun radio tab on the app, and you can either look at the public shows there. You can sign up for the grad program. You can view the grad program. And what I wanted to say was, now we have, since the new grad program is available, and I've had a bunch of people in there, they're testing it, and I just wanted to make sure all the bugs were worked out before I announce this publicly, but if you are not a part of the grad program, you can get a 30-day free trial. You can have 30 days to go in there and explore it and see if it's something that you want to do. And then if you don't, you can cancel it. There's no, you have nothing.
No commitment?
Yeah, you have no commitment.
Wow.
Yeah.
You did that for him?
I did.
Jeez. You're such a nice guy, I swear. All right, so go to your Google Play Store and download and just type in the words Student of the Gun, and you're going to come up with the Student of the Gun mobile app. Or go to your iTunes Store, and you can put it on your iPhone or your iPad or your iFart, I don't know, iEverything. But do it. It costs, and you know what? It costs you nothing. You're like, well, how much does it cost? It costs me nothing. Well, if it costs nothing, it must be cheap. No, it costs you nothing because Century Arms is the official sponsor of the mobile app, and they helped us make it available to you for nothing. So you're welcome. Crossbreed holsters. You want to carry a gun, you should be carrying a Crossbreed and Velocity triggers. You got a black rifle, they have a trigger for you. And gun geek stuff. We've got 2 guns that I've actually worked on in the last 2 weeks. We've got the one that I put the Safety Harbor KES, the compact entry stock, really super slick gear. piece of gear. If you haven't checked it out, you really want to go to either the Facebook or the Instagram or what have you and check out the pictures of that. And I just put together, I kind of assembled and Duracoated and added some. Our buddies at Spikes Tactical, Mookie, if you guys know Ben Mookie Thomas, he works for Spike. He is their official brand ambassador. He's the mouthpiece. And we were at a shoot with him a while back, and he let us shoot a gun that had a muzzle brake on it called the Barking Spider. And I said, dude, this is the fashizzle. That's what I said, or words to that effect. And I wanted to put one on another gun. So I picked one up. I got one. Actually, I got 2 Barking Spiders, one for 30 cal and one for 5.56. And then I got a Dynacomp for an AK. So I've got all these muzzle brakes that I need to test out and evaluate, and one of them went onto a gun that is currently, actually as we're recording this, it's drying. I put the first coat of Duracoat on it, so we're recording, it's drying, and there are going to be pictures of it. It's going to be an AR-15 pistol. The best kind of pistol. So you don't want to miss that. I mean, you can miss it if you want, but you'll be wrong like Dick Cancer. You don't want to be wrong like Dick Cancer. Is that correct, Jared?
That is correct.
That is correct. All right. Do. Without further ado, there's no intro music for this. It's called Smashing the Gun Control Argument in 3 Steps. Now, yes, I understand that all of you hardcore, serious, no kidding students of the gun probably read this article, or many of you did. If you did not read the article that I put up last week in response to the Oregon massacre, another massacre, which, let's face it, folks, these things are coming, and you might as well, you could just like blank lunatic walks into gun-free zone, blank kills blank number of people, liberal politicians run to microphones, call for more gun control. Do we see a formula here? It's like the definition of insanity. We have a problem, we have an issue, and we keep trying to deal with it the same way. We keep trying to solve the problem the same way, and it doesn't solve it. And so we just keep trying that more. And you point out in order to have now I called it gun control argument, and I didn't say, smashing the gun control lies, because we know they're lies, you know they're lies. If you're listening to me, you understand that. The big caveat at the very beginning of this is that if you are speaking to a serious, hardcore, brainwashed liberal progressive. Now, you have 2 types of liberals. You have the what I'll call useful idiots, people that think that they're helping, but they're actually hurting the nation because their brains have been so corrupted by THC or by soy products or by some kind of weird pharmaceutical concoction that they've been force-fed since they were 5 years old. Or they're like vegans and their brains don't get enough nutrients to actually have cognitive thought. So if you deal with one of those people, you have those people, and then you have your hardcore progressive leftist who know that they're destroying the country. They know that they're doing wrong, but they have an agenda, and it doesn't matter. Their agenda is more important than people's lives. Their agenda is way more important than silly words like liberty and freedom and constitution and representative republic. No, the agenda is to take the United States of America down a peg or two and to make us a third world or just an also-ran country. And they're doing it very deliberately. It's not an accident. So you have those kind of people. If you encounter one of them, it's not an argument, because you're dealing with someone who is disingenuous, who's a liar by definition. So you cannot have an argument with a liar. The only people that you can actually have an argument with is someone that's on relatively equal footing, who has the ability or the capacity for rational thought. If you encounter someone that you genuinely believe has the ability or the capacity for rational thought, then you can have a discussion with them. And you say, well, if they had the capacity for rational thought, they wouldn't be entertaining these gun control ideas. Well, The reason that they're entertaining all this gun control nonsense is because they've been raised to view everything in the world from an emotional reaction. Everything's emotional. Everything's clouded with emotion. What are the big three? How do you convince a free people to disarm themselves? How do you do that? Ignorance, distraction, and guilt. Ignorance, you keep them ignorant of their liberties, of their responsibilities, of their duties as citizens. You keep them ignorant of their rights. You make them believe that all rights come from the government, from the state. You distract them with vapid crap, and then you guilt them. Don't you feel bad? Don't you feel terrible? How would you feel if this was your child, your family, your brother, your sister? How would you feel? Well, obviously I would feel terrible, you moron. How would you feel, if your sister, brother, father, mother got cancer and died? How would you feel? I'd feel terrible. Well, no kidding. Everyone in the world would feel terrible. But does that mean that I have to punish? That's like saying, my family member has a disease and your family member doesn't, and that's not fair. I think your family member should have a disease too to make things fair. What? How does giving a disease to my family member help your family member? You're like, well, it's stupid, Paul. What's your point? How does disarming my family bring back someone who was murdered? You want to disarm me, disarm my wife, disarm my family, and make us helpless victims. Okay, congratulations. So you do that. How does that help the deceased? How does that bring back the dead? Disarming good people brings back the dead. Oh, we just have to do something. We have to do something. We have to do something. Okay, idiot. You have to do something. Well, here's the deal. Let's say that you encounter someone and you believe that this person you're speaking to actually has the capacity for rational thought and that they are willing to listen without screaming, warmonger, baby killer, whatever at you. Okay. Step number one, question number one is this. Does a person possess a legal right to defend themselves against an unlawful attack? You can phrase it however you want, but ask them, say, do you believe that a human, a person, man or woman, has the legal right to defend themselves against an unlawful attack? Now, here's the deal. If they say anything but yes, a resounding yes, because it's a simple question. Self-defense. Defend yourself against unlawful attack, right? You're just minding your own business. Someone tries to harm you. Do you have the legal right to defend yourself and the moral obligation to do so? If they say anything but yes, if they say, well, yeah, but, or it depends, you're done with them. Move on with your life. You are finished talking to that person because they just demonstrated to you that they're not committed to the truth. They're committed to the agenda. They're committed to propaganda, to lies, whatever. If they can't say yes, if you can't come to the common ground that every human being alive on planet Earth has the natural right, and this is not something that was granted to you by the government. The state didn't say, let's go ahead and, the 104th Congress, we're going to take up the Self-Defense Act of 2012, and we've decided that we will grant the peasants the authority to defend themselves. No, that's not. If you can't come to that common ground with that person where they believe or understand that you have the right to defend yourself against an unlawful attack, if you can't come to that common ground, there's nothing else you're going to say after that that's going to affect them. So just wash your hands, Pontius Pilate there, put your hands in the water, wash them, and walk away from that person because they cannot be saved. And hopefully they have strong doors and a big dog to protect them because that's all. Or they can just surrender their lives or what have you. A man who cannot be persuaded to take up arms, even in the defense of all that of that which he holds most dear, even for the protection of his own life, is the most selfish and vile of all creatures. That creature is no man at all and deserves neither respect nor serious consideration. So take that into account. So let's say question number 1. They say, yes, I do believe, I understand, I recognize that every human, wherever they live on planet Earth, doesn't matter, has a right to self-defense. Whether it's from being punched in the nose or being stabbed or shot to death or raped or kidnapped or murdered, whatever. They have a right to protect their own bodies. Okay, and by extension, you have a right to protect the innocent as well. It's not just you say, well, they're not attacking me, they're just attacking that guy next to me, so I guess, oh well. Right to self-defense. Yes, check. Number 2, do you believe that the police are required to protect you by law? Is it the constitutional law? Is it a constitutional law that requires the state, ergo the police, to protect you from criminal harm? Now, we all understand that the police aren't always there. We understand that. But let's say the police are there, they're in the neighborhood, they're nearby, and if they fail to protect you or stop criminal harm from occurring, can the police be held accountable? Can you sue them? Can you sue the state? Can you sue the police officer for failing to protect you or stop you from coming into harm? And unless the person you're talking to has been educated, what they'll probably say is, yeah, it's the law. The police have to protect you. The answer is no. And that case went before the Supreme Court in 1981 in Warren versus the District of Columbia. The Warren District, apparently the D.C. has run afoul of people named Warren on more than one occasion, because what happened when we originally put the article up, we pulled it Warren versus the District of Columbia, and it turned out that there was more than one court case that was Warren versus D.C. I don't know what it is with D.C. and messing with people named Warren, but apparently they do that. So, but Warren versus the District of Columbia. Now, in Warren versus the District of Columbia, the court found after, and this is a horrible case, and I'm not going to relate it to you. You can read it yourself. But it was a horrible case where a woman and her roommates had called the police, called DCP to police, and thought that they were on their way to protect them, to help them, to save them from a break-in at their home. They weren't, and they didn't. And the women were horribly brutalized for a good while. It was a long time, by the attackers. And after it was all over, they attempted to sue the D.C. Police Department for failing to protect them, for failing to, give them adequate protection. Guess what? The court found that the state, ergo the police, has no special duty to protect you as an individual. Only society in general. And if this is the first time you're ever hearing this, you're probably like, what? There is no way you're going to convince me that the police don't have the, legal responsibility to protect me and, stop harm from befalling me. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you. According to the Supreme Court, they don't. You cannot sue the police because they, and you say, well, in the Warren situation, the cops just didn't show up. It wasn't that they were there and, failed to stop the bad guy. If they were there, they would have done it. You're so close. Oh, you're so close. During a much more recent situation in New York City, hey, New York, the PD going to shoot you on the street just because you were standing there. Oh, come on, Paul. That doesn't happen that often. That only happens like once or twice a year where bystanders, catch bullets from NYPD. Oh, they got those good New York 15-pound triggers there and fire 84 shots and hit the bad guy once accidentally in the leg. You're just being overly critical, Paul, and I don't appreciate that. No, in New York, the Manhattan Supreme Court held that the New York Police Department could not be held liable or sued after a man was stabbed, just cut up horribly, and the victim lived because he attacked his attacker. He fought his attacker, but his attacker had a knife, cut him really bad. The attacker had previously killed 4 people. The transit authority officers who work for NYPD were on the other side of the glass. There's like a door between them. And so the victim attempted to sue NYPD for failing to render assistance and aid. Because, I mean, they were there when it happened. They were there when it went down. Guess what? The Manhattan Supreme Court said no. Citing the Warren case, those police officers had no special duty to protect you as an individual. Therefore, they cannot be held responsible. And you're saying to me, Paul, there is no possible way. I don't believe you. I don't believe what Paul's saying to me. This can't be true. Read it for yourself, hippie. Read it for yourself. So you're talking to your reasonable, rational friend, and first you establish that a human being has a right to self-defense. And they agree with you. They shake their head up and down. And then you ask them, do you believe that the police, are required by law to protect you from criminal acts? And they say yes. And you say, not so fast, according to Warren versus District of Columbia and the Manhattan Supreme Court case. And what happens, Jared? You're a smart kid over there. Is your microphone on? What happens when a Supreme Court or a district court or a court issues a ruling? What does that become?
Judicial precedent?
Yes, it becomes judicial precedent.
Dude, do you remember that we did a whole episode that called Police Have No Special Duty to Protect You?
Yep.
Guess what episode number that was? Just take a guess.
69.
Nope. It was 23.
23?
It was that long ago, yeah.
Wow.
SOTG 023 Part 2. Police have no special duty to protect you. If you remember the grad program, go back and listen to that.
Yeah.
023.
And the reason the grad program people can do that is because they are now part of the All Access grad program.
Yeah, that was actually before we even started doing bonus hours.
Oh, yeah, that was way back.
Wow.
That was way back. That was the first year.
August 5th, 2013.
So now you've totally depressed the person you're talking to. They said, I believe that I have a right to self-defense, but they're police, and the police are here to protect me, and all I have to do is call 911, and they'll run right over and stop anything bad from happening to me. And you say, yeah, maybe they will, and maybe they won't. And I'm not saying that a police officer would not help you. I would. I was a cop. I would have helped you. If I was there, I would have done everything I could to help you. There are a lot of guys out there that are wearing the badge, wearing the polyester uniform, that would indeed help you, that would do everything they could. But let's face facts. They cannot, from a practical standpoint, they cannot be everywhere. They're there to basically clean up after the attack has happened. Very rarely do police officers are they ever there while the attack is going on. They come afterwards. They're reactionary. And what we found by the Manhattan Supreme Court situation is that there are people, I don't know what the percentage is, quite frankly. I know this, for 20 years, the major metropolitan police departments have not been trying to hire the best and the brightest, the most hardcore, serious, dedicated dudes. What they've been doing is they've been filling the ranks with pensioners and civil servants. It's a fact. Don't write me a stupid letter telling me that I'm cop bashing. I did it. I've been there. I've seen it. I've been on the inside. And municipalities, counties, states, since the 90s have been not hiring cops based upon their whether they're a self-starter, motivated, intelligent, scored high on their tests. No, they've been hiring them based upon their skin color or their sex or their national origin or whatever. They've been playing this political correctness EEOC game. And what you have now in many major metropolitan departments is you have a bunch of pensioners, a bunch of civil servants who are there because it's a good job and it has good benefits, and they're going to do as little as humanly possible and still get their paycheck. And they have a real serious, hardcore, us versus them mentality. Well, I'm a cop, so the rules don't apply to me. They apply to you peasants, but they don't apply to me. Don't tell me I'm cop bashing. We have a problem in America. The problem is you weak Americans, and I know I'm taking a left turn here, you weak Americans have allowed your politically correct supposed representatives to shove all this garbage down your throats, and while you're playing your little fantasy football game and watching the Dancing with the Stars and the Kardashians and all that other nonsense that's distracting you, your country is being taken apart bit by bit. The organizations such as, law enforcement, the military, they're being destroyed from within while you're playing your fantasy football.
He's taking a left turn.
That's right. All right, last one. Tools. So now we've gone ahead and we've established, A, you have a right to self-defense. B, the police have no legal duty to protect you, so you have to protect yourself. All right. Let's talk about tools. Ask them, say, well, now that we understand that we have a right to self-defense, if someone was attacking me or a loved one, would it be legal for me to use a hammer to stop them? And the person would be like, well, yeah, of course. I mean, if that's what you had, you use a hammer. Okay, well, what about a knife? Could I use a knife to stop someone from killing me or a family member, or harming them, raping them, robbing them, whatever? And they're like, well, yeah. Well, how about a gun? And they're like, well, yeah. I mean, how about a coffee pot, a crowbar, a 2x4, a pencil, a stapler, a tape dispenser, you name it. I mean, look around you. Would that be okay if I was defending myself against unlawful harm? Could I use that tool? And the person's like, yeah, anything. Okay. So does the tool used for self-defense have any bearing on whether or not that defense was justified? Or is it the actions of the person that justifies the self-defense or not? And they're like, well, no, it doesn't have anything to do with what you're holding in your hand. It has to do with the actions of the person. What are they doing? What are you doing? It's based upon the person's actions, not upon whether you're holding a hammer or a 2x4 or a knife or, a .38 special revolver. And you say, okay. So here we are at the end of our conversation. You understand that you have a right to self-defense. Yes. You understand that the police officers cannot and are not required to save you from the boogeyman and the monsters and the evil people of the world. Okay, check. You understand that the tool is immaterial. It's what's more important is the actions of the attacker and the actions of the defender. Yes, I understand that. Then what's the point of gun control? But if there's less guns, then criminals won't get them. Oh, we're not talking about criminals. We're talking about victims. So, because the gun control laws, there are two groups that are exempt from gun control laws. State employees, because that's the first thing they do is write in an exemption for themselves. And number two, a criminal is exempt from gun control. No, they're not. No, they apply to them. By definition, a criminal is a person who, by their behavior, by their pattern of behavior and their decisions, do not follow the law. And the law, a gun control law, is a malum prohibitum law, which means just somebody told me that it was not right. So, I mean, if you really want to go down the road with him, you could say, do you believe that a person who is willing to commit murder, that is willing to commit rape, that is willing to commit aggravated robbery, aggravated assault, do you believe that that person will not do that thing? Oh, I was going to commit murder, I was going to kill these people, but this law says I can't use a gun that holds more than 10 rounds to do it, so I guess I won't do it. Or this law says I have to go and fill out a piece of paper at a gun shop, and so I won't do it. Do you believe that gun control laws, really, that they hinder criminals? Well, but Yep, there you go. If you have a person that has the ability, that has the capacity for rational thought, then you can cap it off with the rhetorical question, then what is the purpose of gun control other than to hinder the law-abiding, and offer an imaginary, feel-good solution to a human behavior problem. Drop the microphone and walk off the stage. Bam. You say, but Paul, I mean, this woman Sue at work, she is a hardcore leftist, and she was like, then you're not dealing with someone with the capacity for rational thought. You're dealing with someone who is ruled by their emotions, who is a slave. I mean, they're a mental slave. They've decided that whatever they're told by the media, by the big government, talking heads, whatever they're told, they're going to do. They think they're helping, but they're not. And you say, well, all right, last one. And Jared, this is going to be it. This is going to be the last thought for the day. This is the last thing. And you say, well, all right, Paul, what do you do? How do you deal with people that are ruled by their emotions, that say that it's the NRA and the gun owners and reasonable and more gun control? What do you say to them? And you know what I say to them? I tell them that I don't need your permission. And I would also tell them something that I can't tell them on the family-friendly radio hour. But if you want to hear the exact quote, the exact words that I would say to a Shannon or our sandwich maker, I can't believe that our sandwich maker is not going to find a microphone and put her stupid face in front of it, and that Gabby Giffords and her cuckold husband, that opportunist piece of crap, Mark Kelly, I can't believe that they haven't gobbled down a microphone after this Oregon thing. I'm sure. Pay attention, you'll see it. They're never going to let a crisis go to waste, are they, Jared? No.
No, of course not.
All right, Jared. Well, unless you have something else to say to the folks at home, that's going to put the wraps in a Monday's episode of Student of the Gun Radio. Thank you once again for joining us. We truly appreciate it. Congratulations on your excellent decision-making skills. Watch Student of the Gun TV on Roku and Amazon Fire TV. Yes, we have a television show.
Season 6 is coming soon.
Season 6 is in post-production right now. I was actually in Jared's office reviewing material yesterday. Follow us at studentofthegun.com. Download the mobile app. Follow us on every social media thing that actually matters, including gundistrict.com. All right, kids, remember, you're a beginner once, but you should indeed be a student for life.